Just set a picnic table by the store.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do have Stacy Wilson on the phone here, so we do have a quorum with Andrea, myself, and with Stacy. Andrea, I'll wait till you get back in the picture here before calling it to order. So once I see that we're all sitting at the desk and ready, we'll move forward. Cool. Andrea, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you just so you can speak freely. Can I get a little test to make sure I can hear you?
Hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, and the louder
Okay.
you can speak, the better, because then I've got Stacy on the phone. So we're rolling with the punches.
Yeah, I can't hear her.
All right, I'll tell her
Weird,
to
weird.
be sure to speak up, Andrea, if you can, and we will. I'll repeat as I hear it if we need to do that. I've got my volume up here all the way now. All right, so it's crazy. It is it's 6:10, and we will go ahead and call this regular November council meeting to order. The first item of business will be roll call. Myself, Pamela Brown,
Stacy Wilson.
Stacy Wilson on the cell phone, and
Andrea Kegel.
perfect. And then we've got, oh good, we've got Chief Haskett here on Zoom. We've got guest Gregory Greenway, and then we've got Sandy Serengino also tuned in. I am going to respectfully move forward from the Pledge of Allegiance since we're not in person there, but I do know it's Veterans Day and I'm thankful for everyone who has served. And we're going to go on to number 5 of the agenda, which is special visitor. Greg, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself and I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, council members, for giving me the time to talk to you this evening. I'll try to be brief in my comments, but I do want to share a little bit before I kind of get to the point about a proposal that our organization is making, just to talk a little bit about who I am and who we are. I'm sure that many or all of you have familiarity with Shaniko Music Sanctuary, and that our executive director and one of our board members are familiar to you. SMS, I'll call it, is a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization formed in 2022. And our mission is to support music education, performance, and the arts, particularly in rural Oregon. The kind of impact that we hope to have and that we've had in the several years since we've been around is mostly increasing access to music and the arts for underserved communities. So reducing barriers, again, particularly in Central Oregon, although we have relationships elsewhere, our focus is here. And we do that primarily through fundraising in order to break down those barriers. I want to say, I guess I should back up a second and just tell you what I want to do here. That's our organization in a nutshell. I'll introduce myself. I want to talk then just some of the highlights of what we actually do, some of our program, talk about what we're proposing to you, and then stop and let you ask any questions. So I kind of gave you the sketch of what we do. I want to say too, though, that the spirit of it is that we're kind of plucky. You know, we're entrepreneurial, we're self-sustaining, we're small but mighty is how we like to think of ourselves. And we've been looking to grow, not too fast beyond what we can handle, but we have kind of big dreams and are on a path to realizing those. And so where I come in as a board member is I'm not a bluegrass musician myself. I appreciate bluegrass and all kinds of music. Um, I come to this organization because of my commitment to the mission, and what I'm trying to offer is a business background and a background in nonprofit management. So I think what that means for my personal role, and part of the reason that I'm presenting to you today, is that I'm really focused on keeping us self-sustaining, make sure our financials work, make sure that we grow at the right pace but not too fast, make sure that we are aggressively fundraising turning the message that we have into, for example, grant funding so we can do more of what we do. And just having that kind of a mindset, even though we are a nonprofit, we also are a small business that's focused on serving the community. Our other board member who's not here today is a fantastic musician and nationally known sound engineer, Kyle White. And I just want to mention that because it gives you a sense. One of the things I want to leave you with is that this organization is both inwardly focused, very laser focused on Central Oregon in particular. And at the same time, through my participation and Kyle is in another state. We also have this outward looking approach where we're trying to bring people from outside into the community, bring their dollars, to be honest, but also their energy, but also make sure that we get the message about what's happening locally, both the needs that are unmet and we're trying to help to meet, and all the good stuff that we're doing, and why Shaniko itself is a special place. And so that's kind of a theme, and honestly, that's a big part of my participation sitting here in Portland, talking to you. So just real quickly, the core program and event things that we do. The big one is the Thai Valley Bluegrass Festival. That's what we've hung our hat on for the last several years and have seen growth of 25 to 30% year over year. So that's doing really well at the county fairgrounds. It's just a super exciting thing with all kinds of really good bands and all kinds of good people there, and it's worked out exactly as better than we had hoped, or exactly as we had hoped. Then there's the Hoot, Holler, and Sing, which is kind of a free, more informal event in Shaniko where folks come for a weekend and just jam together and play music. Excuse me, build community, as we say. And then we have plans for the spring, which sounds, 2026, but it's right around the corner, of having a contest in which we're soliciting participation from all over the place, bringing, judging these bands, having entry qualifications and so forth, and the finalists will play, and we hope to bring a bunch of people to Shaniko to participate in that. And that's kind of a next step for us looking to next year. We have an instrument lending library particularly for kids who can't afford them, partnerships with the schools like the South Wasco County School District. I think we provide, over 90% in the last couple of years or so of their music program education, because essentially they didn't have any. And then we have a new partnership that we're starting with a school and some affiliated kids in Sisters. We've also, I'll just say to you, kind of to support what I was saying about how we have big dreams. We were asked actually by the Ford Foundation, unsolicited, to apply for funding from them to do a kind of visioning process to I think it's not so much what we think we want to do, but bringing together a whole bunch of people from the region as stakeholders. Not stakeholders is the wrong word, as community members in this music community, and trying to see what our assets are, what our relationships are, and what we can all do together. So that's kind of exciting for next year. So thank you for indulging that. To get to the point of, as I guess, an informational or action item. My message to you is that the Shaniko Music Sanctuary is a real jewel in the community, and that Shaniko is a real jewel in Oregon that I see all the time, here and there in various travel outlets, AAA magazines, stuff like that. But we think that there's something here really special that again can sort of draw resources, financial resources to the community, energy, culture, and then in return let the wider world know, what's special about Shaniko. And I don't mean that by have folks overrun the community, but just come periodically to see Shaniko as a real center of arts and culture within Oregon. And it's getting there, frankly. So one of the constraints we have, limitations, is venues. And so as we're seeking to expand, and in particular, I mentioned that band contest would be an upcoming example, we need sort of the ideal space where we can consistently rely on, kind of like we have with the county fairground for the big event, but for smaller events within Shaniko. And so the one that we're pointing to is that what I mentioned to you, the band contest. And the proposal that we're making is to do a partnership with the city in leasing the schoolhouse building. That meets our needs. It's a perfect space, perfect kind of size and charm, and fits the the spirit and the culture, if you will, of the organization and what we're trying to promote. And we think that it can be a win-win-win for the city, the community, and the organization. I mean, we're a community, we're committed by law even to community and charitable purpose. And so our whole mission is not to make a profit, but to raise funds and reinvest those funds in the community through what we do. So we propose to lease the schoolhouse and to retain it for city use, allow the city to use it free of charge for the events or activities that the city might want to use that. That's part of the partnership idea. The other part of the partnership is that if we were to agree to terms on a lease, that of course, as we hold our events and so forth, we're constantly acknowledging the city's partnership in leasing us this venue and in other ways that we hope in the future too. So the kind of, I think the idea here would be that I'll sketch it out, and then I would imagine that you maybe at your next meeting would consider it. I'm not asking you to consider any of this in detail as an action item tonight. So the idea that we had in mind was a 5-year lease. We would pay somewhere in the range of $5,000 to $6,000 was what we were thinking based on market and budget. And we would pay all of that in cash in advance for the 5-year term. We would, well, just the terms, and then I'll try to talk to you about the benefits real quick. We'd cover all building maintenance expenses. So insurance would be in the organization's name, utilities, lawn care, things like that. We would do all that at our expense. We would invest, it's my understanding that there are some capital improvements that probably need to occur, like bathroom repair. And so the organization would invest in those capital improvements. Of course, the city's still owning the building, but we doing those tenant improvements. And as I mentioned, the city could use the venue at no charge as needed. We would ask that the city give a 30-day notice if ever to terminate the lease, and that, some language about how the timing of that wouldn't conflict or interfere with any of our events, major events that would be upcoming. That's all I'll say about the details. The kind of quick pitch about why we think this is a really good potential collaboration that could benefit the community, organization, and the city is that we have the funds, and we think that we can actually raise the funds, for example, through like the Ford Foundation grant, things like that, bring resources to invest in that asset. So improve that community asset, get it, do the capital improvements of the bathroom and whatnot. We intend to bring financial revenue to the city, obviously both through the lease, but also through our events. We'll generate, well, I'm just talking about the city itself, straight up with the lease. Of course, it'll generate revenue for the city that you're not getting now in not leasing that, and reduce the expenses to the city of maintenance and repair. Broader, as we say, we want to create this community hub. We think this will really be a place that will be exciting for people in the community and in the surrounding area, your neighboring towns and regions, and just right there in Central Oregon, in Wasco County. And my personal view is that there's an opportunity here to really put Shaniko on. I don't want to say put Shaniko on the map, because Shaniko is very much on the map, but within this music community, to get recognition for what's already happening and what could happen in collaboration with the partners in the area, in the region, to make Shaniko kind of this shining jewel on what's known as the Central Oregon Music Trail. And that's me again, maybe speaking as a Portlander, wanting to tell people that there's really cool stuff going on out in Central Oregon. and we just want to surface that and connect that to resources. And finally, I'll just say that, our intention as an organization, and definitely if we had some responsibility for that property, is that we are very entrepreneurial and we intend to go out and bring funds to these activities. And so we're applying for grant funding to support community events and programs. And so in addition to kind of all the economic development that might come with the successful events and so forth, we would love to partner with the city going forward in any way on those sorts of grants or both, rural development, economic revitalization opportunities that are out there at the state level and from private foundations, and how those intersect with our focus on music, culture, and in a lot of cases, youth and education, which is, that's an attractive nexus of all those things. And I'll stop talking. I didn't intend to go so long, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Stacy, since we don't have a visual on you, do you have any questions or reactions that you would like to add in regards to the schoolhouse deal?
It's a whole new surprise to me, but I kind of like the idea. So eventually we'll work towards it. I think 30 days. We can we come watch the music?
Stacy wants to know if he can come watch the music. He thinks it's a good idea for anybody who couldn't.
I think that's one of those city private public partnership things, is a lot of comp tickets.
Okay. Yeah, I've had a bunch of people pulling up here. Joe Goldie's here right now, and Joe is here. Sorry, I talked, but that's all the questions I got for now.
Andrea,
Sounds pretty good.
it sounds pretty good. Andrea, any thoughts, comments, reactions?
I like it too. And I was just gonna say Stacy's got a front row seat right there. She's right by the school. But anyway, yeah, I don't see how that could go wrong. I mean, it's a great idea.
So what I'm
Appreciate
hearing,
that.
what I'm hearing is it makes sense to go forward and kind of drop some of these specifics that Greg spoke about to present in the next meeting for the next steps.
Yep.
Yeah, I would go forward.
All right, so it sounds like Greg, we're excited to hear more, and we'll invite you back for next meeting. And in the meantime, if you can draft something up, and maybe give us a couple days to look at it before the next meeting, so we can look it over and be ready to make a decision.
I appreciate that consideration very much. Would it be helpful in the meantime just to give you my kind of bullet pointed notes of what I just said for the record, or just work on a more specific set of terms?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would I just maybe email those to the clerk, or email them to the mayor? How do I get that to you?
Greg, if you send them to me, I'll make sure they get dispersed to the counselors via email, so they can take a look at them.
Good, because I had to write my comments down for myself, so you might as well benefit from that. All right, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, so Greg signed off. Moving on to the next item, which is the approval of the minutes. I did not get a chance to look over those minutes. Andrea, have you looked at them?
I don't have them. I mean, maybe I do. Not that I haven't. No.
I think
I haven't either.
Stacy hasn't either, and we do have time. We've got some cushion in a time frame to approve minutes. I would make the motion that we table the approval of the October minutes to next regular meeting when we've had a chance to look at them. Is there a second?
I second that.
Stacy seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so the motion to table the approval of October minutes to be shifted to, I'm taking notes myself, shifted to the December meeting. Okay. The next order of business here is the recorder report. Deborah is not joining us on this call this evening. We did receive her written letter of resignation. So before we go forward with any more of the recorder's report, I want to acknowledge that letter and see, Andrea or Stacy, if there are any questions about that before we talk about how to move forward.
Nope.
No,
Okay.
not for me.
I would be inclined, just for clarity and the sake of notes, I would make a motion here. I make the motion to accept Deborah Holbrook's resignation as city recorder as of November 10th, 2025.
I'll second.
Andrea seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay.
And then do we declare a vacancy or?
Yeah, I would declare the vacancy by accepting the resignation. So officially, there is a
Okay.
vacancy, and I'll make sure that the minutes that I'm taking show that there is a vacancy, as well as at the same date.
For people that want the job or something.
Yeah, so we have to talk about how to move forward with this.
Okay.
And going with the pattern that we've established as a city council year over year, I think my 2 cents would be opening the application process up for 30 days to accept applications up until just the day before or 2 days before our next council meeting. I have to look at the calendar. For sake of discussion, Andrea, does that sound appropriate to open the application period like that?
Yeah, I think that we need to do that. I'd like to time it so that it doesn't take forever to get, to get somebody in there.
Yeah. Stacy, does that sound about right to you? Just kind of putting my feelers out.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to find somebody that knows as much as Deborah, but
Yeah, it's just going to be
I'm all for
difficult
it. Yeah.
to find somebody. I will look over the ordinances that we put together previously for the previous recorder, allowing an applicant to live outside of Shaniko. So I will make a note that we're going to post that. We'll make sure.
And I think if everything is all caught up, I think that it's not going to be as daunting as it has been for her. So
That's what I'm hoping for. In the meantime, we've got this 30-day vacancy. It makes sense to have somebody to fill in the meantime. Unless you wanted to let all the bills sit, but I wanted to see what you, Andrea, were thinking, if it's worth exploring having somebody just take care of the bills and what.
yeah, I think that's a great idea. We kind of, we need to continue functioning. Is that something that we can do? Like, can one of us take on that as well? I don't know if
That's what makes the most sense to me. Reading through the charter, the typical things of if one person can't perform the functions or steps down, then the next highest person or whoever's willing would step in and take care of those things. And that would be something that I would be willing to cover for the next 30 days while we accept applications.
that'd be fantastic. I was thinking of you.
I remember that.
For the sake of clarity, and I won't vote on this, but is there a
I
motion?
motion, yes, that we have you do it.
I second.
Stacy makes the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
And I will recuse myself. Give me a moment to take a quick note here. And Andrea, seconds. I just have a quick report that the city council main bank balance is $5,296. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we are right now. I'll dig in and see what outstanding bills need to be paid. I'll also go through and see what accounts payable we're behind on, anybody who may be behind on their bills. I'll kind of put that spreadsheet together to set the next person up. So
Sounds good.
quick recorder report there, being as we're in transition. And if I'm moving too fast, let me know.
Now, can I add something real quick? Is it as far as possibly hiring somebody for the treasurer part of it? Is that something we need to let somebody know who would be applying for the position, that it won't be all of it? Or is that, I mean, are we going to talk about that, or is that something we can just do later?
Stacy, did you hear that question?
Yeah, yes. She wants to know if everybody's gonna find out about the new recorder and have input, or is that?
No. I mean, are we gonna talk about possibly hiring the financial stuff out separately, and the recorder position being, what it originally should be? Are we gonna do that? And I'm just saying, if we were gonna talk about doing that, if we're gonna put the position out there, then it would be a more thorough, you know, we could say that it's not going to be all that. I
It
don't know.
it definitely is a lot of work. I have to agree, and it's been admirable that it's one, it's an unpaid position. Two, that it's got two responsibilities of actually taking the notes and following up and putting all the agenda items together and staying on top of everything. And in addition to that, managing all the financials. And yes, most cities, granted we're a smaller city, most cities do have, they call it, other cities have called it a city clerk rather than
Yeah.
clerk, recorder, and then somebody else who's the treasurer. And my thought is let's bring people in and maybe have that conversation with whoever that person is, and maybe let them be a part of the process of whether it's hiring out or talking to a bookkeeper. And my thought is
Okay.
that this clerk recorder, I'm just going to say clerk to separate it's two different roles for this conversation. Since the clerk and the treasurer would be working really closely together, it might make sense to have them be a part of that process.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. I thought we might have more applicants if if we separated those two things. Um, but yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
What we can do though, to prepare for that conversation later is, if you're comfortable, I can draft up, and I can talk to LOC as well about drafting up a resolution to prepare for next meeting where we would be ready to present it to council and look at what that looks like. And
That'd be cool.
include like
Yeah,
an asterisk that will be coming, that we'll be discussing, with intention to be splitting those up, but wanting to include the new person, the new clerk, as part of the decision-making process.
right on. Yeah, very good. Yeah, then we can research prices and things like that,
I
and
like it.
have all that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yep, sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, it does.
All right. So I'll
I'm
put
on board
that.
now.
Yeah, I'll put that on the list. On the list here. Give me just a moment to take a note. Okay. Let me find my spot. Anything else from the council on the recorder element before we move on?
No.
Okay. I will,
I just want to know, are you gonna put the ad in for one?
yeah, I will, I'll put some feelers out, for recorder. I'll make a couple phone calls rather than making an ad. I just really like to stay within a network of, if you have somebody you've worked with, let me know, or send me the email or the phone number. And same with you, Andrea. I like the idea of getting somebody through recommendation rather than putting an ad out and getting a weirdo.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Oh, since we're not obviously not going to read the whole thing and all that, should we, so that it's on record, in a nutshell, why the recorder is stepping down? Um, because she has too much of a workload when it comes to her job and stuff like that. She wasn't is too much for her.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it was temporary anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah,
just
that's a good point. In addition to that, juggling both elements of the recorder position, her actual full-time, her part-time work was picking up right with her
right,
responsibilities that had to take her out of town.
definitely busy season. So
Yeah.
all right.
Right. The next item will be the water report. Water levels are at 8 foot 5. There is we spoke last meeting about that water grant. Ed Hodges at Karen McLeod of his scope of work, for him to go forward and for the granting organization Business Oregon to fund his most recent reimbursement request. Well, his bill that we're paying and then we get reimbursed. They're requesting that we just drop a letter that says, yeah, we approve the scope of work. And I was gonna draft that up and have Mayor Kentry sign that, since we voted on it last meeting and we said yes, they just need an official letter. So basically, I'm letting you know that I intend to write a letter that summarizes the vote we took already. But for transparency, just wanted to put that out there and see if there's any questions about that at all.
Stacy, were you able to look that over real good?
Yeah, I looked it over. It's just less than we had in the first one. That's why I was kind of. It looks like it'll work okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ed gave me a phone call a couple weeks ago after we were kind of in the learning phases and getting up to speed. And what Ed said was, the two reservoirs would be great, but he said, I'm just concerned that you guys don't necessarily have the personnel to be able to go to both reservoirs and fix both reservoirs if there's an issue and chlorinate both reservoirs. And for me, the more that he talked about that, the better it
Yeah.
sounded to me.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. All right, so I'll go ahead and get that scope of work letter. I don't think it needs a vote since we voted last time, but I'm gonna move forward with that.
Okay.
And then I've got Chief Haskett here on the line for the fire report. What you got for us?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we sent out the information. We should be getting compensated for the water for the Black Rock fire. Government agencies move slowly, but hopefully we'll be getting, a couple of grand, I think, $2,500 or something, which is great. I think we did a great job getting through fire season. And Stacy and I spoke the other day. He was wondering if we should go down and run the engine once a month for 45 minutes, and we had talked about that. And I think if Stacy's willing to do that, that would be great to go down and fire up the engine just to keep it running. Is that something, Stacy?
Yeah, Stacy says, yeah, he'd be willing to do that.
Cool. So that's great. So yeah, just text the fire department, open the doors up and turn on the circulator and run the engines just so we're ready. We need the new the steering box. So we don't want to do training on it. We want it to be ready in case we need it for an emergency. So other than that, things are great.
Okay.
Awesome.
Can I ask a question? What is that brush truck in town? Do you know? Or is there
Pam told me what she knew. So what I know came from Pam, which came from Joe, which Andrea might know something. I don't know.
Shut up.
Kenny about it, and he said the ranch brought it up,
Okay.
and it's ready to go.
Really?
Yeah,
All right, who's got the key?
stuff. Kenny said.
Whose is it?
It sounds like
I
we
seen the
could.
picture.
We
I
could.
don't know whose it is.
I don't know who is it. Who? I have no idea. Let's do this. Mark, would you be willing to touch base with Kenny? It sounds like he might know, and then we can get in contact with whoever it is for the ranch and just ask a straight question since it seems like there isn't a whole lot of straightforward information on this.
Yeah, I guess. Sure.
I was just wondering what I was doing sitting over there, but it's over by the dumpster, kind of.
Yeah, I got a couple pictures of that. Let's give us some time to make some phone calls and see what's going on with that.
Andrea, what did Joe tell you?
This is the first I'm hearing about it.
Because it was something about this was the old brush rig that was over at Butch's house, and Shaniko Ranch mechanic fixed it, and
Is
now
this
it's
within the last couple days?
yeah.
I was out. I'm sorry, man. I
Well,
haven't heard.
that's what I heard.
Okay. I,
I don't know. And
I
then I also heard that Kenny's leaving town for. Sorry,
Yeah.
this is not a part of the city council meeting. Sorry.
Let's go ahead and move forward just to keep
Yeah, we
things.
can find out about that truck.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's it for the fire report. Thanks, Chief, for that. Old
Thank you.
business, I'm gonna kind of pop through this. The Main Street grant proposal we talked about last time. I followed up with her and thanked her for coming out. And she she said I don't need an answer right now. She gave us a little like a link for Main Street contributions since she'd mentioned we could do a fundraiser for it. So I was thinking about putting this up, maybe talking to Teresa about it, getting it up on the Facebook page to see.
Yeah.
And if we can raise that $500 from just anonymous donors, then we can revisit and decide if we want to do it, because it's all dependent on that money that we don't have. But if you guys are okay with just kind of putting the link up to see how much money we can grab for it, if we get 500, then we can talk about doing it. It's not, of course, worth raising the money for if we are not seriously considering it a benefit. So I'm just revisiting to see what your thoughts were on that Main Street Oregon grant presentation, that the idea is we would get to go participate in networks and workshops to get connected with other kind of frontier chamber and council members, and then we would be eligible to have the frontier chamber write a grant on our behalf to give back into the community, which would fix up facades or support businesses and that sort of thing. So my ask here is, if money was no object, is Brittany's presentation from the chamber something that we are interested in?
I think it sounds really great. I can't, if there's some that are inspired enough to want to be go-getters when it comes, I cannot promise I'll be one of those people, but maybe I'd like to. So if money wasn't an object, I don't, I think it's a good idea. I mean, if people are really excited about, being involved in that, I think it's cool. I'm just not super motivated when it comes to that, but I could be. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea too. We just got to come up with a fundraising thing because it's not city money that we're using. It's all volunteer money different money that we're going to raise, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And the benefit of the internet is we might be able to reach out beyond our Wasco County region to hey mom. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have any money either. All right, so I'll go ahead and post that, and I'll keep you guys updated on
Sounds good.
the funds. And if it comes like it looks like we're going to raise the funds, I'm all about being that person and reaching out and then coming back to council and telling you what the workshops look like.
Cool.
All right, backhoe policy update. I did look through. Forrest emailed over a number of really well-written documents.
He
You put a lot of work into these.
He does.
does a fine job.
I read over them, and there was a very in-depth policy and procedures, which is great when you're lending something out. It kind of protects you from liability. He also has a rental liability and release that somebody who wanted to check out the backhoe would sign. And then there's a rental form that it's fairly simple, but it just leaves a space for your name and who you are, what you're going to use it for, and if you're going to be digging, it asks for the 811 number with a price tag of $25. per day, with assigned with assigned signature line at the bottom.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have not read through those very well. Are we voting on anything about that?
So it's up to you whether, and this is an open council discussion of if it makes more sense to read it over and visit it. Next meeting, I would just need a motion to table. Otherwise,
Yeah, let's table it. I'd really like to look it over. I know that he's very thorough, and I just I'd like to look it over real good.
So I motion to table it.
all
Till
right,
the next meeting.
perfect. Thank you, Stacy. Stacy motions. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
hi.
All right. Okay. Restroom update.
This is for me. Okay. I don't want to do the bathrooms anymore, but I don't have time. And this is what I'm thinking. We get a decent amount of money in the donation thing for the restrooms, and I realize there's, um uh electricity and all that stuff. I get that. We can figure all that out. But at the same time, I would like to pay somebody to do it and pay them decent. Like, I mean, because the better job you do on that, the more people tip. They really appreciate a clean bathroom. So it would kind of be like what kind maybe, I know that we'll have to work out the kinks, but whatever you earn that way, you keep. Um, we could work it out whether they could buy their own, um, the toilet paper and stuff like that, so they could use what they wanted and all that. Or if we pay for it, that would be minus that. But I would just like to figure something out like that, because it's
Who?
hello.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Are you guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
All of a sudden, I don't see you. I don't know. I just keep talking.
You're here. We're here.
Anyway, if I had something detailed written out, I should have this time, but I'd like to. Kayla and Jake are here without transportation and don't really have employment, and so they would be willing to do it, and I would love to hand that over to them for now. I told her that we had to, discuss, pay and all that kind of stuff, and so that I didn't give her any amount or whatever, but I told her what I was kind of mulling over. If we want somebody to do a good job on that, and we expect it to be done the way we expect it to be done, drop of a hat. If a bus of 40 people show up, you got to get over there. We need to pay them decent. $10 per business we might as well just give it back. It's no, that's not, so I just think that we should probably sit down and figure this out. I don't think we need to jack it up too much when it comes, as far as, the businesses and stuff like that, but we definitely need to pay somebody decent. So
Stacy, do you have any thoughts on that?
I was just wondering what kind of price she had in mind, but I don't know. And also, the garbage has been a problem. I don't know, that's not on the list, but they're kind of together, the restroom and the garbage.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that next. I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay, but yeah, I think it's a good idea to get somebody paid to do the restrooms and keep them clean and do it all the time. I was just kind of wondering what the pay was, but I guess.
well, I was sorry, Stacy. Can I? Okay. Well, I was thinking if we could look at the, if we could look at the average as far as the donation box goes, I mean, and then, you know, either, I don't know, I think we should pay, I don't know. Um, like I said, I think that the more, you know, the more effort is put into it, I think the more people notice and they tip better. Uh, so it would be maybe, I told her, I said, you could put flowers in there if you want to. You could, you know, uh, you could kind of just, you know, just make it nice, and maybe she could have, or it would be like there would be a percentage of whatever is in the donation box, like 3/4 of it or something like that. Uh, I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of like
Yeah,
in,
I definitely get it's a motivator. It's like being a waitress and wanting to give good service.
yeah,
I know this also like eats time, and we want a decision now. Would you be comfortable if I gave Kayla a phone call and kind of chatted with her, and then like bring her into the next meeting or we could have a workshop on it maybe to discuss
yeah,
what it look like. And then also that'll give me a chance to look at the different finances and what's available and what balances it out. So I
yeah,
can also come,
definitely.
and whether that's a workshop that's coming up, I know it's the holidays, or the next meeting, it gives me a chance. So if I'm promising this much money, I know that the city can have that money to be able to pay it. Because I do think it's an important job. The businesses are paying. It reflects on our city, and then it's an opportunity to create. I know not a livable wage job, but you know something there.
Yeah.
But that's a month
Well,
away, isn't it? The next
I was
meeting.
gonna say,
That is,
yeah,
which is kind of leading me to if we want to at the very bottom of this agenda is workshops to schedule. So if we
Okay.
agree that we want to talk about the bathrooms in a workshop, we can schedule the workshop at the end of this meeting, and that'll give me an idea of how much time I have to put something together. I guess the question is, would you be willing to talk about the bathrooms and the pay and what that looks like in a presentation in a workshop that would come soon?
I would like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, me too.
All right. Cool. And then Stacy, that does lead us into trash. And I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, and I've done the trash for 3 or 4 months and with no pay, and all I would continue doing it. There's once in a while, like for a week or two, I go to a girlfriend that lives in Roseburg, so it takes a. I'd have to get somebody in between, but all I would want is for gas money. If somebody paid my gas money and paid for the garbage bags, I'd do the rest for free.
Did you hear that,
Awesome.
Andrea?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I appreciate that.
And I guess I would be the regular. I don't know. The city is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. And Stacy, I wouldn't mind being somebody that could relieve you on occasion if you need.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So can we throw that in the same workshop?
yeah, and yeah. Put that in
Cool.
the workshop too.
Perfect. And Stacy, I know that we haven't hashed out the details yet, but would you be willing to pick up the trash this coming Friday? Because I know there was a tricky situation last week, and I do really want to offer consistent service if we can. Is that something that you can commit to for this coming Friday?
Yeah, I did it with Joe last time, and my truck right now needs a starter, and all I need is a truck for. So if somebody can move me, or if Joe wants to drive around again, I'll pick it all up and dump it all.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll take care
If
of
he if he if he can't, then you can use my truck.
You need a new dumpster.
Oh, that's another
Oh,
thing.
wait, did it? I I heard they smashed it down.
Yes.
They smashed it down. I'm not there to have a visual to see exactly. I know last time when we called it in, it was actually too full, and the guy could not close the lid. He actually had to take bags out the manager sanitary guy, to take it. So go take a look.
I'll run over there right after the meeting and get a picture.
Perfect. And if it's good, I'm happy to hold off another week. I would love that. I also want to make sure it's the balance of how much trash are we gonna have next week.
Right.
All right. So
Yeah, they smashed it down and then I filled it back up again. It's like pretty level.
all right, Andrea, are you up to going over and taking a picture in the next couple days?
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Perfect. And then shoot me a text with that, and if it needs to be picked up, you can give me a shout, and I'll do that. And
Okay.
then going forward, Stacy, when you go along, if you over the next couple months, give me a shout when it needs to be picked up. I usually just need a day or two notice when I call. They don't need a whole lot of notice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of know what's happening there. So
Yeah.
I'm trained.
Okay.
And I'll take the pin out too.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. All right. What's next on the list?
The old City Hall shop space update.
That seems like that might be a workshop topic as well. Unless if somebody has an update, please, I'm all ears.
I'm not sure what update means. Are we supposed to put it up for rent? Is that what?
I have a
That's
feeling.
what I want to know too.
I have a feeling that the person that maybe made the agenda request isn't here to speak on it. So let's
Okay.
let's table that. We'll talk about it in the workshop.
Okay.
And I think we're gonna get a lot done in this workshop. Just put our heads together, mind meld, and
Okay.
action items. So let's table that until I think on an agenda item I'll officially make the motion to table the discussion of the old city hall shop until the workshop.
I'll second.
See y'all in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Making a note. Okay. While I'm taking notes, Andrea, will you talk through what scheduling workshops, what schedule would work best for you on that?
I like Mondays. Stacy, are you? Well, let's see. I wonder what would be conducive to for the other two. Do we have a a cap on how many items can be on the schedule of a workshop?
Nope. Workshop is get your hands dirty, get her done.
Okay. Do we have 3 things or more?
I'm a fan of 3 because I like to be able to tackle and get them done if they're bite sized, but we can always add more even if we want to start chipping away at things.
I really think that I think the 4th item should be talking about what we want, what we feel like we need to get a move on
Okay.
about. I know there's some things that feel urgent. I can't think of anything at the moment, but that's how that goes.
Andrew, are you thinking like a week from today, Monday?
Yes, please.
Okay. Stacy, are you okay with that at the same time as we usually do it?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay. Workshop. Does somebody have the calendar open to tell me what that is? Is it the 17th? 18th?
I don't.
I'll look later.
Yeah, it's the 17th.
Okay, 17th. Perfect. And then the items for that would be the bathrooms, the trash. What am I missing? Help me out here.
Tobacco policy.
Ah, yes, thank you.
Oh, we were gonna talk about the city hall rental thingy.
Yeah, City Hall work space available.
Yeah. Okay. That works for me. So I've got that on the calendar. I will add that to the website. And I've got a couple action items for myself from this meeting as well. Anything else from council before we open to public comment?
I was just wondering, Can I make a comment too? Am I part of the public or am I on the council, so I'm not part of the public?
You, there are a couple of different ways to approach that from a council standpoint. One, we can make a motion to add something to the agenda. I like to think that as we're meeting, it's kind of an open conversation to counselors, for counselors to be able to share. I wouldn't cap your time off. And then as just a statement about public comments, as the public speaks, the council doesn't need to go back and forth and respond, although we can. So I guess long story short, go ahead and share what's on your mind.
Well, I'm just going to comment then. When I ran for city council, I wanted to help the city. And it seems that everyone wants to help themselves. The last council was constantly sued. This council was headed in the right direction. And after the last election, things have kind of fell apart. And the fire chief not talking with the mayor is a problem. And Boris and Dave, we're trying to help them, and they're kind of against us by blocking with the trucks. It's ugly, and Forrest is back to suing people. It's like the things aren't working out. There was good people on the last council, and there's a few on this council. And you know we are. So let's all work together for Shaniko's success. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Stacy.
I like it. I like it.
All right. I'm gonna go to public. I've got Sandy. Would you like to share anything with us at this time?
Not at this time. I'm still gathering information.
Thank you. All right, thanks everybody. We will call this meeting adjourned at 7:05. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and then
Thank you.
he spoke a little bit about